Recently, I was stood in my garden with a good friend of mine. Now, he's a successful director for a company, and he was telling me that he really struggles with life just going too fast. And as we were stood there talking, I was showing him some of the vegetables that I'd been growing and how gardening really helped me to connect back in with myself, to slow down, to find space in my life, to find a quiet time to spend in nature. And just it really gave me a peace. And he said that it was something that he felt he was missing in his life, and perhaps he should give gardening a go, and I encouraged him to do so. But it really struck me that he struggled with life moving too fast. And I think it's something that many of us struggle with. I know I have myself in the past. This feeling that life is just slipping away from us, it's running away, and it doesn't matter how much we seem to do, how much we try and get on top of things. We just cannot seem to get a break. We can't catch a break. The reason for that is because we dictate how time moves in our lives. You may not think that that's the case, but I want you to think of when you go on holiday, maybe abroad somewhere, and you just spend a week doing very little. Perhaps you lie on a sun lounger and just read your book, sipping a beer every now and again, or a good cocktail. And in those weeks, time seems to move differently, doesn't it? It moves slower. Because you're not filling your every waking second with, a to-do list and just rushing through your day, time seems to move more slowly. And then I also want you to think of a time when perhaps you've got stuck into something, you've really got into a flow state. Maybe it's with gaming, or perhaps reading a book, drawing, creating something. When you get into that flow state, time again moves very differently, doesn't it? It can be hours have passed and it feels like 5 minutes. You see, our perception of time is fluid. And so when we are in situations where we feel like life is moving too fast, it's within our control to do certain things that will help to slow down, that will help us to find stillness and peace. I think it's an area and an issue that so much self-improvement misses. We're fed this hustle culture, aren't we? Where, we're fed this lie that we should be productive all of the time. That if we're not doing something, if we're not ticking something off the list, then there's something wrong with us. If we don't have that energy and that drive to be constantly striving for the next best thing, then we are somehow broken. But I found that mindset, that identity really doesn't work for me, and I would imagine that it doesn't work for you either. If you made it this far into the video, you're probably struggling with some of the same issues that I have in the past. This sense that I must always be doing something, I must be productive. And it leads to burnout. You may find yourself in a place of burnout right now. You may have been through one of these spells in the past, or perhaps you're lucky enough to have avoided them thus far. But down the line, it's likely that burnout could be a real reality if you don't take your foot off the gas and find some time to rest, find some time to slow down. Many people get stuck in these cycles for years and years, and I was one of them. I would constantly be in just an up and down spiral of being really, really energetic and going after things for a few months at a time, and then crashing and burning because I just put too much pressure on myself and I wasn't taking enough time off. I wasn't taking enough downtime. You see, that downtime is incredibly valuable. In fact, is often more valuable than doing more productive things. Because unless you have this baseline of rest and recuperation, your body, your mind, your emotions and your spirit, they don't have time to find that baseline. You're constantly on to the next thing, and doesn't give you the space that you need. If you think about a pro athlete, for example, yes, they train really, really hard, but they also take their recovery extremely seriously. In fact, it's often what sets apart those top athletes from everybody else is just how well they recover, how much time they dedicate to their recovery, how strict they are with their recovery and their rest. And so when it comes to us and our daily lives, we should really be prioritizing that rest and recovery too. It's far too easy to let it slip under the radar, though, and to feel like we should be doing something else, though, isn't it? We have a real guilt around rest. We have a guilt around taking downtime. It's important that you find a way to give yourself permission to rest, because rest is going to be really, really key for your growth. It's why I start both my ebook and my course on recovery with rest, because it's just such a fundamental thing that so many of us lack in our lives. And it helps to slow life down, to let us breathe again, and to move forward with a pace that feels right for us and is dictated by us rather than being dictated by the world around us. And so what can we do to rest, and what can we do to give ourselves this permission? Well, for me, rest can come in many, many forms. Perhaps it's playing a video game, perhaps it's reading, maybe cooking if you find that relaxing. Gardening for me is another one that I really, really enjoy. Or perhaps it's just sitting quietly by yourself. There are lots of different forms of rest. Really what you're looking for is an activity that just makes you feel relaxed, that makes you feel like you're having a bit of that downtime. You're having a bit of space to process things, a place where your mind can switch off. And building that into your day-to-day life is crucial. I really recommend at least 15 minutes a day of dedicated rest. You see, the thing is, when you actually make it a priority and almost make it something to tick off your list, you suddenly find it much easier to give yourself permission to do it. You don't feel as guilty for taking that time to rest because, well, actually, I've prioritized it and I've made it something that I need to do. It's often when we have these massive to-do lists and rest doesn't feature anywhere in there that it gets squeezed out. So bring it into your schedule. Schedule time to rest, and you'll find that it's a lot easier to give yourself permission to do that thing that you enjoy doing. And you'll start to reap the benefits of rest pretty much immediately. You'll find yourself being clearer. You'll find that your thoughts are less noisy. You'll find that your body has more energy, and you'll just have a better outlook on life. You'll feel more positive because you've given your body and your mind and your emotions time and space to be. It's a real skill, resting, and it's something that the modern world has lost. As I've said, we're fed this lie of hustle culture, and really stripping that back and getting down to really what is important, what makes us tick, what makes us grow as well. And rest really is at the foundation of that. So if you need more help with this, and also with structuring other habits in your life that, we know all the good things we're supposed to be doing, like exercise, reading, and creating, eating healthily. There's so much that we know we should be doing, but how do we sustainably fit that into our life? How do we structure it, especially with rest as well, so that we don't end up burning ourselves out and we don't feel that life is just flying by, but actually we have a sustainable structure to follow? Well, I've put all of my learnings over my lifetime, really, of struggling with these things into a ebook and a course that I mentioned earlier. They're linked in the description, and they'll really help you out if you find yourself in a similar place to me, where you're struggling with how to rest. You're struggling with how to sustainably build habits that are good for you. And also you maybe feel this ongoing pressure, this ongoing drive that you need to be doing something constantly, but it is only leading you into burnout. And you want out of that. You want to find a path forward that is right for you, a path that lets you build sustainable habits, but also gives you space to do those things that you enjoy. So if that sounds of interest to you, if that's going to help you, then check out the links in the description. That's it for today. Thanks ever so much for watching, and until next time, take care. God bless.